So today, boys and girls, we're going to be learning about mixed numbers and how we can represent them using a model. And you've already learned about how to represent fractional parts using a model. So today we're going to take it one step further. We're going to learn about mixed numbers, what they mean, and how we can represent them using a model. So our learning target is I can represent mixed numbers using a model. And you'll know you've done this when you figured out what a whole looks like in the problem, and generally that's going to be told to you. It's going to be an informational statement in the problem, and then what fractional part goes with that whole or wholes, which you already know how to do the fractional part. So it's just going to be adding on the wholes today. So what is a mixed number? A mixed number is called a mixed number because it contains whole parts and it also contains fractional parts. And the wholes are usually still split up into pieces, but all of those pieces are shaded or represented. So let's look at some examples of wholes. So here are 3 different examples of wholes, and you can notice they're cut up differently. They might look a little different, but all of the pieces of each of these wholes are represented. So you see in this, in the red circle, you can see it's still split up into pieces, into 6 pieces, but all 6 of those pieces are represented. So this is one whole. Same here. This is split up into 2 pieces. But both of those pieces are represented, so this is still representative of one whole. Over here, you have one other picture. Okay, this is cut up into 8 pieces, but all 8 of them are represented. So still, again, representing one whole. So let's go back to our success criteria. You're going to know you've done this when you figured out what a whole looks like in the problem, and then what fractional part goes with that whole or whole. So normally, it's going to tell you what the whole looks like. You have to figure out how many of those there are, and you're going to go back to what you already know about fractional parts. So let's try a few together. So again, here's our informational statement. This model is shaded to show one whole. Do you see this is one whole? Okay, so this is not a part of what it's asking you. This is information. Oops, this is information for you. Okay, this is just information. So this is where our question comes in. What number is shown by these shaded parts? So we know this is representative of one whole. So we have this one, which represents one whole. We have this one, which represents one whole. We have this one, which represents one whole. So the wholes counted together are 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 wholes. So that is this part, and this part. So now we go back to what we already know how to do. We look at this extra fractional part. We know this is less than one whole because not all of the parts are represented. We still know we need 4 as our denominator because it takes 4 pieces to make up that one whole. And 3 of those pieces are being represented. So this is 1, 2, 3 wholes and 3 fourths. So I'm going to erase my work here and move on to the next slide. We're going to try another one together. Okay, I'm going to erase here. And says, what is being represented? You notice this is, again, an informational statement. This is just telling you what represents one whole. So we look down here. It says, look at the shaded parts. What mixed number is shown? You know when it's asking you for a mixed number, that you're looking for a mix of whole parts and a fractional part. So here's our information statement. This is represented this is shading that shows one whole. So we go down here, and how many of those do we have that represent one whole? Well, we know we have 2 of them. So I'm going to go over to the side, and I'm going to write down 2 wholes. I have 2 wholes, and then I have this is my fractional part. Again, my denominator is going to be a 4 because I know it takes 4 pieces to make one whole, and one of those pieces is being represented. So this part is exactly what you've been doing. Okay, you know that this part represents 1/4, 4 total pieces, one of them being represented. Now, the only difference in mixed numbers is we're adding on the wholes. Okay, and this is just to tell you what a whole looks like. Okay, so I'm going to erase my work here. We're going to try 2 more together to see if we can really master our learning target here. It says this is one whole. Do you see this one whole here? Let's count the pieces. to see if we know how many pieces are in this one whole. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 pieces representing this one whole. Okay, so I'm sorry, this is 9 pieces. Mrs. Drinker counted that piece twice. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I should have marked the pieces to make sure that I knew that I had counted that piece already. So this is one whole. So we have 1, 2, 3 of those. So we know we have 3 holes here. 3 holes. And then over here, we have a fractional part. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the fractional part? Okay. I know that I have 9 pieces total because I counted them up here. Okay. I have 9 total pieces. And then I have 1, 2, 3 of them being shaded. So I have 3 holes and 3/9 that mix of a whole part and a fractional part. All right, one more together, and then we're going to revisit our learning target and see if we mastered it for the day. This is one whole. So what mixed number is being represented? Well, we have one of those, and then we have what we know to be a half. So we know for this last problem here that we have one whole and we have one half. Sometimes boys and girls get mixed up and they want to add this in the problem. But remember, this part up here is just telling you what a whole looks like. It's just information for you. Okay, so let's go look at our learning target, okay, and see if we mastered it, see if we're ready to try some practice on our own. Our learning target is I can represent mixed numbers using a model, and you know you've done this when you figured out what a whole looks like in the problem and then what fractional part goes with the whole or wholes. So I think we've mastered it. I think you guys can do it, and you're going to be hearing some more from me this week about mixed numbers on a number line.